Agnes Gonsha Boyakshu, later known as Mother Teresa, captivated the world with her image of unwavering devotion to the poorest of the poor. Her journey from a young girl in Skopje to an international symbol of charity and compassion is nothing short of extraordinary. Born in Skopje, Ottoman Empire, in 1910, she embarked on her missionary work in India in 1929. The bustling streets of early 20th century India, with their vibrant yet challenging atmosphere, became the backdrop for her life's mission. Her calling, she claimed, was to serve the poorest of the poor, the unwanted, the unloved. In the slums of Calcutta, she found her true purpose. Dedicating herself to those who had been forgotten by society, her tireless efforts to provide care and comfort to the destitute earned her the nickname Saint of the Gutters. This narrative, carefully cultivated and amplified by powerful allies, formed the bedrock of her public persona. Influential figures and media outlets played a significant role in shaping her image, presenting her as a beacon of hope and compassion in a world often marred by indifference. The media, particularly the BBC, played a pivotal role in propelling Mother Teresa to international fame. Documentaries and news reports highlighted her selfless work, bringing her story into the homes of millions around the globe. This widespread coverage not only elevated her status, but also inspired countless individuals to support her cause. Her image as a selfless saint, tirelessly working amidst unimaginable poverty, resonated deeply with a global audience. People from all walks of life were moved by her dedication and humility, seeing in her a living example of altruism and sacrifice. Awards and accolades, including the Nobel Peace Prize in 1979, further solidified her saintly image. These honours not only recognised her humanitarian efforts, but also cemented her legacy as one of the most revered figures of the 20th century. However, behind the carefully constructed facade of piety and compassion lay a more complex and controversial reality. Critics began to question the methods and practices of her missions, pointing out inconsistencies and raising ethical concerns. A closer examination of Mother Teresa's life and work reveals a troubling dissonance between the myth and the reality, raising uncomfortable questions about her methods, motives, and the very nature of sainthood itself. This scrutiny invites us to look beyond the surface and consider the complexities of her legacy, challenging us to reconcile the icon with the individual. The Catholic Church, in its pursuit of canonization, demands evidence of miracles attributed to the individual. This process is rigorous and involves thorough investigation and validation by a panel of experts, including theologians, medical professionals, and other scholars. The miracles must be clear, unexplainable by natural or scientific means, and must have occurred after the individual's death, serving as a testament to their divine intercession. Mother Teresa's case was no different. Her life and works were scrutinized meticulously, and the Church sought to find undeniable proof of her miraculous interventions. One of the most widely publicized miracles involved Monica Besra, an Indian woman who claimed to have been cured of a stomach tumor by Mother Teresa's divine intervention. Besra's story captured the imagination of many as she described how a beam of light emanating from a picture of Mother Teresa had healed her. Besra's account, however, has been challenged by doctors who treated her. They argue that her recovery was not instantaneous or miraculous, but rather the result of a well-planned medical treatment regimen. They maintain that her tumor was successfully treated with conventional medicine. The doctors provided detailed medical records and treatment plans that they believe clearly explain her recovery without the need for invoking a miracle. Besra's husband even confirmed that she had received and completed her prescribed medication. He stated that while they are devout believers, they also trust in the efficacy of modern medicine. This raises serious questions about the veracity of the alleged miracle and the role of faith in influencing subjective experiences. Faith can be a powerful force, often leading individuals to perceive events in a light that aligns with their beliefs and hopes. Other reported miracles, often involving vague claims of miraculous recoveries, have faced similar scrutiny. These cases frequently lack concrete evidence and rely heavily on personal testimonies, which can be influenced by a variety of factors, including psychological and emotional states. The lack of verifiable medical evidence and the reliance on anecdotal accounts cast a long shadow of doubt over these claims. The Church's process of validating miracles is meant to be stringent. Yet these controversies highlight the challenges in distinguishing true miracles from natural recoveries. The question remains, were these miraculous interventions from a divine power or simply misinterpretations of natural phenomena and effective medical treatments? As the debate continues, it underscores the complex interplay between faith, science, and the human desire to find meaning in extraordinary events. Mother Teresa's Missionaries of Charity, the organization she founded, became a global fundraising powerhouse, amassing hundreds of millions of dollars in donations. This vast wealth, however, stood in stark contrast to the conditions in her homes, raising concerns about the organization's financial transparency and accountability. Despite the immense sums received, the homes under Mother Teresa's care remained desperately understaffed, under-resourced, and lacking in basic medical care. The funds, instead of being used to alleviate the suffering she vowed to ease, seemed to disappear into a black hole of questionable financial management. Critics have accused Mother Teresa and her order of prioritizing proselytization over providing essential care. The focus, they argue, was not on alleviating suffering but on converting individuals to Catholicism, even in their most vulnerable moments. The vast sums of money, instead of being used to improve the lives of the poor, appeared to serve a different agenda, one shrouded in secrecy and driven by religious zeal. Section 4. Houses of Pain or Healing. The reality of care in Mother Teresa's homes. This section delves into the stark contrast between the public perception of Mother Teresa's homes and the actual conditions reported by those who have been inside. While the world saw these homes as sanctuaries of love and care, the reality was often much more grim and troubling. While Mother Teresa's image evoked compassion and care, the reality within her homes painted a starkly different picture. The public image of Mother Teresa was one of unwavering dedication to the poor and suffering, a beacon of hope in a world often indifferent to the plight of the destitute. However, behind the walls of her homes, a different story unfolded. Numerous accounts from volunteers and journalists who gained access to these facilities described appalling conditions. These first-hand reports painted a picture of neglect and suffering that stood in stark contrast to the image of compassion and care that Mother Teresa's homes were known for. Volunteers often found themselves overwhelmed by the sheer scale of the problems they encountered. They reported a severe lack of basic hygiene, inadequate nutrition, and a disturbing absence of pain relief, even for those suffering from terminal illnesses. The conditions were so dire that many volunteers and journalists were left questioning the very purpose of these homes. Were they truly places of healing, or were they merely warehouses for the suffering? The use of reused needles, a practice considered highly unsafe and unethical by medical standards, was also documented. This practice not only put patients at risk of infections, but also highlighted a blatant disregard for their well-being. The reuse of medical equipment was just one of many alarming practices that raised serious ethical and medical concerns. This disregard for basic medical protocols exposed residents to unnecessary risks and raised serious concerns about the quality of care provided within these institutions. The lack of proper medical care and the unsanitary conditions were not just oversights. They were indicative of a deeper, systemic issue within the organization. The very principles that these homes were supposed to stand for were being undermined by their own practices. These disturbing revelations challenged the perception of Mother Teresa's homes as havens of comfort and care. The stark contrast between the hopeful volunteers who came to serve and the despondent patients who languished in neglect was a powerful indictment of the system. Protests and calls for reform began to emerge as more and more people became aware of the grim reality within these homes. Instead, they appeared to be places where suffering was not so much alleviated as it was glorified, a testament to a philosophy that seemed to prioritize spiritual salvation over physical well-being. The emphasis on spiritual practices, while neglecting basic medical care, suggested a troubling ideology that valued suffering as a path to spiritual enlightenment. This approach left many questioning the true mission of Mother Teresa's homes and whether they were truly serving the needs of the most vulnerable. Mother Teresa's global influence extended beyond the realm of religion and charity. She cultivated relationships with powerful political figures, including dictators and individuals accused of human rights abuses. Her acceptance of donations from these controversial sources raised questions about her moral compass and the potential compromises she made in her pursuit of expanding her mission. One notable example is her association with Haitian dictator Jean-Claude Duvalier, from whom she accepted a substantial donation and a Medal of Honor. This alliance, formed despite widespread condemnation of Duvalier's brutal regime, cast a dark shadow over her image as a champion of the poor and oppressed. Her defenders argue that she remained above the political fray, accepting support from any source willing to contribute to her cause. However, her critics view these alliances as evidence of a calculated pragmatism that prioritized her own agenda over any genuine commitment to social justice.